Welcome back to more Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Last time, we started exploring the Redgar Forbidden Lands, so this time, we're going to continue making our way through this area, starting with the burning, churning power plant. As we make our way to the power plant itself, I do want to mention that if you're wondering why I don't have a power-up when I ended the previous video with Ranger, it's because I messed up finding a secret, so instead of restarting, or having to play through the stage twice, I just decided to restart the video. This stage is really cool, but I'm also really nervous about it, because there's something really cool about this stage that I missed, and that's why I had to restart the video, for one thing. But I definitely want to show this off. Also, there is a mission to not get squished, so be careful around all of these crushers. No, to be fair, even if there wasn't a mission, you probably would not want to get crushed by these anyway. So there are little gaps in them, so you can stay safe. I got clipped by an enemy, but luckily did not get crushed, so we are still good to go. The secret of the stage is coming up soon. By the way, there's another mission up here. Perk up with 3 cups of coffee. So we basically have to collect coffee. I'm also a little bit worried about that, because I don't fully remember where all the coffee cups are. So this set of crushers is on a timer, basically, and there's actually a breakable section with our first Waddle Dee and another secret on top of these crushers. So if we go over here, there's a little vent entrance here leading to a secret room. Infiltrate the control room. So we have a capsule and a secret mission. However, that's not all there is to that control room. Now that we've found the control room, another secret should open up. But it's a bit of a trek to get over there. Definitely try to stay on top of the crushers, because I think they're actually moving faster now that we've gone into the control room to make this secret a little bit tougher to get. I say as I immediately drop down, so whoops. Barely made that cycle, definitely should not have gone for that. So let's actually exit. And we have a ladder that was not there before we entered. So yeah, by going to the control room and then heading all the way out, this ladder will appear leading to a secret area. Based on how specific this is, you might be able to figure out what the secret is, but let's see what happens next. We have this little ominous corridor here with a bunch of coins leading us to the center of this area. But as we approach, we have a ton of blocks, and let's start breaking them. So, we broke that set, and now there's an H. I think you might be able to guess where this is going. We have an A now, and if we break this final one, we should have an L. This is, as far as it's known, because again, the game actually hasn't been out that long at the time of recording this, this is the third and the final Howl room, as far as it's known so far. If there are any other Howl rooms, they have not been discovered yet. I want to say this one was actually discovered pretty quickly, along with the first one in the first world, but the one in Wandaria actually took a while to be found. I remember trying to keep an eye out on, like, Kirby, like, wiki sites to basically keep track of if they had found the final Howl room, because I kind of assumed there would be 3 Howl rooms, because Star Allies had 3. We also have some text here. I don't think we can actually read that, though. I think it is actually possible to translate the language in Forgotten Land, so it'd be interesting to learn about how to actually decipher all this. This spits us back into the control room, so luckily we don't have to worry about navigating all the crushers again, and we're good to go to head into the next area. I say we're good to go, but I'm very, very paranoid about missing collectibles. Again, this stage is actually very scary, so I would prefer not to miss anything, having to go through the stage again. The next stage is scary enough as is. This one I got first try in my own time, so I'm hoping I can get through it no problem this time as well. But again, there's almost been a pattern where the stages I struggled with on my own time are the ones I'm getting first try, and vice versa, because those are really committed to memory because of how much time I spent on struggling on specific stages. But again, that's generally how my brain works. Something I've had to do multiple times is a lot more like committed to memory. Something that I've only done a couple times, like if I do a stage first try, I actually don't remember it as well. So the final gem is actually behind this crusher, so let's drop down here, and that should open up that cage. I feel like this song is a remix. It kind of sounds like a remix, but I'm not entirely sure if it is or not. It sounds like a Dreamland 3 song. Again, this game is pretty light on remixes for a Kirby game. A lot of Kirby games tend to have returning music that's remixed, but this one, I feel like compared to most, relies a lot on original songs and the main leitmotif of the vocal theme. Again, it's an interesting approach to a Kirby soundtrack that I think mostly works out really well. We have a lantern switch, so good thing we had fire. So that kind of fixes this crusher, making it a little bit slower. I actually don't know if there's a way to get under this without slowing it down. I'm guessing no. But now that it is slowed down, we can simply float up on top of it to find another hidden optional area. I'm actually surprised, now that I'm thinking about it, that none of the Howl rooms are required for missions. It makes sense because maybe they're too cryptic actually to require for a mission, but it is kind of an interesting choice. We have to kind of dance around this fuse. This is actually a really fun challenge. Yeah, just trying to like dance around it with the staircase in order to actually open the door and also make it to the cannon in time, like so. And that takes us up to another pile of coins and a Waddle Dee. So that was number 3, so we have 2 more to go, and 1 cup of coffee left. So we're actually doing pretty okay, I think. Alright, so we have another secret up here. This is actually kind of difficult to get to because of the vertical height on floating. But there should be another blueprint. You got the Deep Sleep blueprint. Now you can evolve the sleep ability. Take it to Waddle Dee's weapons shop. It's kind of weird seeing that sleep is getting an evolved form too. But yeah, it makes sense since most of the others do as well. Alright, let's move on. Alright, so we have a spike wall. I actually want to stick with fire because we have this little dash move. There's our final cup of coffee, so let's quickly grab the way to get that. We have metal walls now, we can't break through these, so we have to be very careful. We have a capsule placed very jerkishly up here, so we have to make a detour to pick that up. We also have a vending machine, so now we can actually break these, making our lives a little bit easier. We have a lot of soda cans, luckily, so we don't have to worry too much about running out. We can open up this little secret passageway and find another Waddle Dee. By the way, if my memory is right, for the vending machine in the Howl room, I think you have 860 soda cans, so there's that number 86 coming back, similar to the time for the race in Wandaria for the Howl room. So again, it's a recurring number in the series for Howl rooms specifically. So all that's left is 1 Waddle Dee, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm guessing it's in here. Alright, so with the vending machine, this is very silly. You have to dodge all of these walls that are trying to push us into the lava. Oh good, we're having a puzzle now. We have to swap over the cone. Honestly, this is really fun. Alright, so we got through a cone, so we can break this, and hopefully, find the last Waddle Dee. There he is. So we are good to go, we got everything in the stage, so all that's left is to reach the goal. This is one stage where the final objective doesn't actually clear until you actually finish the full stage. I don't know why, because you pass all the crushers after the spike room, but it doesn't unlock until now. Naughty? Stairs Mouth Kirby. Kirby gained the mysterious Mouthful Mode ability after he flew through that vortex. Now he can stuff an entire set of scaffold stairs into his mouth. Move the stairs around to access hard-to-reach spots. You can also tip yourself over to crush enemies. Wham! Gear Ring. Gigatso. Wild Frosty. The mysterious vortex brought Mr. Frosty to the New World too. He arrived shortly before Kirby and immediately joined the Beast Pack. The change in wardrobe must have made it an easy choice. It's tough to be the new guy, but his fellow beasts love working with him. Maxum Tomato. If your health is low, just eat a Maxum Tomato to fully heal yourself. You're packed with nutrients. Did these fall through the same vortex as Kirby and his friends, or were they in the New World already? It's hard to tell, but everyone seems to enjoy them, even the Beast Pack. Our next stage is the Gathering of the Beast Council. Alright, so this is a very interesting stage. I'm very curious to see how this goes, because we have a lot of missions, and they may go well or they may not go well. We'll have to wait and see. Over here we have a little side path with a capsule to start things off, and a bunch of cool goodies, a lot of star coins, and time crash. I'm torn. I think I might stick with fire, actually. Though I am a little bit tempted to actually go with time crash, considering what's coming up very soon. I can already see what's coming up here. Looks like we have a rematch. We have to fight a bunch of old bosses again. I'll be honest, it honestly feels a little bit redundant sometimes. Because on one hand, yeah, rematching bosses is a Kirby thing, but on the other hand, when you also have to do this in the arena, it feels a little bit redundant, to be honest. Especially because of how the arena's been set up since Star Allies, as being like, separated into separate, like, tiers, so you often have to fight enemies more than once. It's not a huge deal, but again, it is something that kind of stands out to me. It's like, you do have to fight enemies a lot, and frankly, there aren't a ton of bosses or mini-bosses. Well, there's our first Waddle Dee, I guess. We have a time trial through the Burning City. Make sure to jump to shave off time wherever you can. Like round corners very sharply. Yeah, you do have a lack of enemy variety, which is kind of one of my biggest issues with this game, to be honest. It's not a huge deal, no, all things considered, but it is a little bit noticeable at times when you have to like go through refights like this. You do have a retry Warp Star in case you missed the Waddle Dee and want to try again. So we're being given a lot of food, which should indicate that, yeah, we aren't done with our fighting yet. Actually, I should have used Time Crash. We're getting fire anyway. It would have made Goramondo's fight a lot shorter, to be honest. Oh well, this will still be fine. I mean, we would get fire anyway here. Climb the ladder, and next up is Silly-Dillo once again. So our second mission, he's actually starting with phase 3, which is interesting. We don't have to worry about taking damage, so I'm just kind of gonna play very recklessly because our mission against Silly-Dillo is to clear this, to clear this in 1 minute 30 seconds, which I feel like these bosses for these rematches actually have a little bit less health than they would normally, so it's actually not too bad. Like these particular challenges, like they're not at full strength. So yeah, like chip damage was very effective. Defeat Silly-Dillo in minute 30, so we got that too. There's one more mission. Before we head over, we do want to stop and rescue our next Waddle Dee over here. Please be number 2. Yes, it is number 2. Again, I get a little bit concerned every time I rescue a Waddle Dee that it will not be the one in order. So, this is a fun little pipe course. Basically, follow the stars. If the stars indicate that you should jump, jump. If they kind of indicate a downward path, don't jump. That's all there is to it. But it's kind of a reflex test and kind of like how fast can you respond to the scenario that the game is presenting. This is obviously the right way. We're getting a ton of stars for our trouble. And we have another Waddle Dee. Number 3, I presume, because there was no spots for the other Waddle Dees to even be at this point. So let's climb up. Again, you can retry if you take the wrong path and need to try again to rescue the Waddle Dee. But we did good, so let's move on. Another set of power-ups to choose from, and some healing items. And our next fight is with Clowerline. Again, jumping straight into the next phase. This one, we actually have to be a little bit more careful. The final mission of the stage is to defeat Clowerline without taking damage. I'm actually glad it's Clowerline and not Silly-Dillo, frankly, after what happened last time we fought Silly-Dillo. Overall, this isn't too bad. The fire is definitely helping to speed this up, though. Defeat Clowerline without getting hit. I definitely let the fire do most of the work there, but that is a very effective strategy to get through that. 2 things to keep in mind here. There's a ladder. You might have actually noticed there is a Waddle Dee on top of this structure. So let's climb up and rescue them. And that means we still have one more Waddle Dee to save, probably tied to this roller coaster. And also, a very sneaky collectible right over here. You got the Storm Tornado Blueprint. Now you can evolve the Tornado ability. Take it to Waddle Dee's weapons shop. I had to look this one up. I didn't look up a whole lot on my first playthrough. I tried to do as much as the game by myself as possible without looking up like guides. This is one where I ended up caving. But again, as a reminder, Wise Waddle Dee, even if you're not connected to the internet, will still tell you where blueprints are, to my knowledge. So for example, I talked to him, he said that there was one right before the roller coaster. I didn't really want to play the stage a bunch of times, so I just looked it up to double check, and yeah, that's where it is. And we have another roller coaster section. It's actually been a while since we saw this in Mundaria. I do feel like in general, I feel like there could have been a few more mouthful mode transformations, just because it does feel like you only have a handful of them throughout the entire game. But again, this is the first 3D Kirby game, so I feel like I am more willing to cut it slack because of just making improvements elsewhere to the series, beyond just, you know, introducing new abilities, if that makes sense. But if they ever continue to iterate on this style, I would like to see more copy abilities in 3D and more potential transformations. Though in all honesty, it probably won't have mouthful mode, considering that most times Kirby games will completely change up what their gimmick is, like, you know, going from the Hypernova in Triple Deluxe to the Robobot armor in Planet Robobot. It's just a completely different thing entirely, so I'd actually be curious to see what they would come up with for another 3D Kirby game, because it might be something totally different. You also have a little side area over here. I don't think there's anything too important over here. However, you still want to keep this in mind. All I'm going to say for now is you want to keep this area in mind, and we'll talk about why that is a little bit later. For now, let's finish up this stage. All missions cleared. I definitely also missed the secret passage on my first playthrough. I also thought that's where the blueprint would be, if I had to make a guess, but yeah, it's actually much later in the stage. Boat? Storage Mouth Kirby. Kirby gained the mysterious mouthful mode ability after he flew through that vortex. Now he can stuff an entire set of lockers into his mouth. Wiggle and thrash until you tip over. Hey, who put this behind the lockers? Strong-armed beast Gormondo. Gormondo considers the local shopping mall to be his personal territory. As part of the Beast Pack's executive council, he's in charge of capturing wildies and gathering food. He tends to eat all the fruit himself. He just can't help it. This behavior has earned him an earful from his boss more than once. Glider Arch. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually the longest world in the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then the boss. So instead of like 4 levels in the boss, you actually have an additional 5th stage. We'll be tackling this next time, along with the boss, most likely. For now, I am debating what to do next. I kind of want to show off some more treasure roads. I'm debating whether we should stay here or if we should go over and deal with some of the earlier ones. Let's actually look, first of all. We actually can't do some of these. We haven't found enough abilities for some of these, unfortunately. So that's slightly that's going to be a problem for later. Burn over the belts. Conveyor dash. This one is fun. Actually, to be perfectly honest, I completely blanked on paying attention to the target time for this, so I have no clue how fast I have to complete this. It's also weird going back to the regular fire dash after using the dragon fire dash, which is much better. I say as I completely botched that mission a little while ago. Again, these treasure roads do not mess around. That's why I'm glad that you don't need to complete these for 100%. It's just kind of for extra coins and potentially bragging rights. I say as I'm actually really messing up this one pretty badly, depending on what the time is. That hurts, being less than a second off because of just messing up a few inputs earlier on. Oh well, we got really close though. Next up, let's stick to the Wandaria area. We have the bomb treasure. Toss 'em, hit the bomb blocks. This time I was paying attention. Our time for this is 45 seconds. I feel like this camera angle really doesn't help, actually, if I'm being totally honest. I want to say I did this stage in a really weird way on my original playthrough, where I just did this. Instead of like lining up shots, I would just basically dash forward and do this, which I can't say I recommend doing that, but I mean, it worked. It's just not very efficient, especially when you're taking a lot of damage from spikes constantly. Again, can't recommend doing that, but hey, it kind of works as long as you have the health for it. I also wouldn't recommend using like a tomato for this, because, I don't know, that just feels like it'd be a waste to heal in a treasure road, considering there's not really consequences for dying in a treasure road. By the way, if you do die in a regular stage, you basically just lose coins. It's not that big of a deal. Like I was saying, yeah, well this works, and I missed the target time, so maybe it doesn't work that well. Let's do one more. I don't think there are any more here, though. Yeah, I think the only ones here are actually locked for now. No, there's sword. Slash wisely. Rope cutting quiz. You know what this reminds me of all things? The Kirby Anniversary Collection. There were a bunch of like mini-games, not mini-games, so like challenge stages, based on Return to Dreamland, based around different copy abilities. And it just occurred to me, that's actually kind of what this reminds me of. We have to take that path, otherwise we'll block off the green gem. And also that keeps us from falling into a pit of Gordos, which is always a plus. So yeah, basically we need to pick the right rope to cut in order to fly through the stage. I actually think I messed it up because I accidentally floated very briefly, but that might still be enough to mess me up. I don't know what these do. So let's just chop all of them, see what happens. Yep, that drops the whole platform, allowing us to get the final gem, and that should make path. Also, the target time was a minute. We actually got that really easily. So next up, I think we'll turn in some blueprints at town and then continue making our way through the Redgar Forbidden Lands. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Kirby and the Forgotten Land.